Testing. Testing. Okay. And we are alive. Okay? We're alive. A little low energy today because I've got a crazy headache. Um, I, if you watch my latest video, I did like a fall, and yeah, like instantly, the second I fell, my head started hurting, and probably not the smartest thing to do. And I didn't get much views anyway, so pretty silly, pretty useful, huh? Um, yeah, not doing that again. I thought it was grass, but it was fake grass, and underneath it was most definitely just pure concrete. So I fell on concrete with a bit of padding on it, essentially. And ever since then, my head's been killing me. I feel like I've lost a few brain cells. But we're going to go ahead with it anyway. Insight. Finding gold in a mountain of dirt. It's going to be a short one because my brain is not working properly. Something in my head. I hope I don't have a concussion, but I do feel constantly nauseous. Um, what is insight? Where can you find it? Okay, that's the topic for today. I'm just going to write it down so I don't forget anything. What is insight? How to find it? Insight is essentially we're gonna speed through this, but insight is essentially just information that you create. Right? There's nothing else more to it. It's information that you create that no one else knows, or at least no one's publicized it quite as well as you have. All right, the way to maybe I should do another one. How to find it and how to present it. What is insight? How to find it and how to present it. Insight is cause and effect, right? Let's say you see two areas in the world that somehow connect, and you see that before anyone else sees it, right? And this has happened quite a few times in my life where you'll see a world event, or you'll see like a fringe internet forum, and you'll see something in the news, and you'll be like, these things are related. And like 5 years later, down the line, suddenly you were right. And that fringe internet forum is now a major political debate, right? It's like back before the red pill was like a thing, right? Before it became like part of the manosphere, it was about paternity laws in America, and how divorce court was unfair to men, and that was kind of like, I remember reading about it. I remember watching a short documentary about it, and the red pill was essentially just that. It was um, people concerned about divorce court and how it was unfair, and usually screwed men over, and people for no reason were getting basically their children taken away from them. And oftentimes it was like scornful women that were kind of at the helm of this. And It was like a growing community at the time, and they made some valid cases about how the laws were skewed, and that's something I read about in like the early 2010s, right? It was a relatively small internet thing, and then you had like this like MGTOW thing happening, and like that grew, and I could see it growing, and then suddenly like this whole Andrew Tate Fresh and Fit thing just grew, and kind of became like the talk of town essentially. And in 2000 and let's say 11, 12, if you were talking about this, right, you could right now be a prominent figure. And a lot of people have kind of ridden off that, and I forget that guy, but he kind of talks about himself as like the godfather of the red pill. And like the message, of course, has changed, and the core concept is, men versus women, and that's kind of grown as society becomes more, what's the word? It's just more tense, more antagonistic against each other. And that's kind of grown, right? And so in 2011, 12, that's insight to think that that might be something that could be growing soon. Because you've connected world events with some information that you know. And it may or may not have come to fruition the way it did. But regardless, it is a valid insight in 2011, 2012. Now, because it's mainstream and you got all these, kind of strange figures saying all sorts of radical things, it's a little diluted, I'd say, the message. But regardless, that's insight then. Now it's not, right? Because everybody's talking about it. If it's been said, it's not insight. It's just research. And so insight is just connecting things, creating a cause and effect, and realizing that there are chains of events occurring and things could possibly occur. It's essentially, in one way, prediction. But it's not just random prediction. It's seeing. It's like looking at a chessboard and realizing that in 5 moves, if you play it right, you could win. Right? Insight is, let's say, your backseat playing chess. Right? Your friend's playing, and you're playing backseat chess, and you say bishop to b6, and he didn't see that. All right? You whisper it to him, bishop to b6, and he sees it, and he's like, oh, wow, that's a great move. I didn't see that, right? That's your insight to the chessboard that he didn't see, right? That's valuable to him because he's playing. The stakes are high for him, for example. And so how do you find it? The way to find insight is to absorb information, right? Because you never know what things might connect. You have to look where people won't look or haven't looked. And that's very important, right? It's like that scene in Silicon Valley, right? I forget. There's like a big investor, and one of their projects is like losing money, and they need like 10 million something ASAP, something ridiculous, in a few days or like a week. And he invests in poppy seeds, because he realizes that there's a cicada bloom happening, and cicadas are going to ruin the poppy seed market in a few countries, boosting the stock value of, or like the value of poppy seed production in a certain country, and he makes insane amount of profits, and he solves that situation in a few days, right? And that is insight. No one thought of that. There's not like a directory. There's not like a website you can go on to find that information and create those links. Those are two separate pieces of information that, when connected, give you new information, right? And that's insight. So to find it, you have to absorb information. You have to look where other people won't. You have to think of things from their core principle. Lateral thinking, first principle thinking, right? It's like Elon Musk deciding to create his own rockets instead of buying them from NASA, because he realized that the only reason rockets are expensive is because the only people I can buy them from is NASA, and if I can just make my own, then I need to pay far less, right? It's just branding, right? They have market power. They have like a monopoly on the rocket ship market, so I can just create my own, right? And he had the capital to make that happen. That's insight. Kinda, I guess. The insight is that it'll be cheaper to make his own instead of buying from NASA. Or the insight is that you can make your own, right? And figuring out how to make that happen. So you have to kind of absorb information that you don't think might be relevant. Or look at things from a perspective that no one else is looking at, right? We need rockets? Sure, let's buy some rockets. No, let's make our own, right? Insight makes you go, huh, that's interesting. I didn't think of that. And then there is the trick of how to present it, right? Because you may have insight. There's probably millions of people that have some insanely useful insight out there. But how do you present it, right? You have to present it in the most simple and understandable way possible. So remember, this is new information, right? You cannot just say things. You can't say them in a way where it's too complicated. And you can't just say them as is. A relates to B, so therefore consider C? No. You have to explain exactly how A and B are linked. You have to explain exactly why creating yours is better dealing with the legal issues. Sorry, I just got a notification. You have to combine information in a way that it's digestible, right? You can't just say, let's make our own rockets. You have to say, why making our own rockets? Why dealing with the legal hassle of getting your company approved by the government to be able to even build rockets? It's better. It's a better hassle to deal with than buying from NASA, right? You have to be able to explain why rising tensions in between the two sexes might lead to an exacerbation of an internet forum from 2011 and become one of the reasons a few people make hundreds of millions, right? Right? That's insight. You have to be able to explain that. Not everyone's going to believe you. And upon the explanation, and here's the thing, if you cannot explain it in a way where it's even like really easy to understand for everyone, it's probably not good insight, right? And that's the beauty of it. Once you have insight, once you found it, once you found valuable insight, if you can present it in a way where people understand, you know then you have good insight. It's like a feedback mechanism because you may be biased. You may have a bias towards certain outcomes, but if someone else buys in, then that insight is useful, right? It could be useless insight, it could be poor insight, it could be any one of those things. But if you're able to explain it, and if people believe you and are willing to invest money in you for it, then what you have is valuable, right? And that's the difference. Because the market decides. The market decides, you don't, right? You could be really excited about something, but if the market decides it's not valuable now, or maybe it is useful, but you're a little too early, it's going to be like no dice, right? And that's why timing is such an important thing, and you have to be careful with what kind of insight you actually share. Because if you share insight in 2011 about those internet forums growing, and that could be a place to make money off of whatever kind of audience, impressionable or not, then people might think you're a little crazy. And you don't want people thinking that you're crazy, right? You want to say, let's build our own rockets when you have maybe several hundred million, and not when you're speaking to investors on just an idea, right? So timing is important. It's like with OpenAI in 2015, they were gonna go for an investor run for about like something like 10 million, 20 million, something like that, something crazy. And then Elon Musk says, no, no, no. Let's do $1 billion, otherwise no one will take us seriously. So they asked for a ridiculous amount of funding. And that made people take them seriously, right? So it's all a difference of, it's a combination of experience and information available, you know? If Elon Musk hadn't had all those different companies and that business experience under his belt, people may not have taken him seriously. So you have to be careful about the timing of when you give insight, and what kind of insight you give, because like test it out. Test it out with your friends, test it out with your business partner, test it out with someone. If it doesn't make sense, they'll tell you. Ask them to tell you brutally. Because when you take it to market, you're going to build a reputation, and reputation is important in people accepting your insight. That's why sometimes crazy decisions get made, and you wonder how in the hell did someone even say yes to that? But it all depends on how much they trust the person giving the insight, right? So it's a double-edged sword where, reputation leads to better insight, but insight can also create or destroy reputation. And finding that piece of gold in the dirt is, is important. Or you could just sell the shovel. That's insight, right? When everybody's running around for some gold, I bet we could make more money by just selling shovels. And so, whoever thought of that first probably, made a lot more money than people who came in second or third. First to market wins, but you have to make sure that your insight is sound and it's on time, right? Like the cicada thing from Silicon Valley. It just so happened that the cicada hibernation cycle was coming to an end in that exact week, and that's what made it profitable, right? If he would have spoken about that 10 years ago, maybe people would have been like, yeah, cool story, buddy, or even like a month before. The timing is so important. It's like with Bitcoin, right? When I was too young to buy Bitcoin, but Like I could see that it was going to be popular. Now I'm just one of those guys that says, "Yeah, I almost bought Bitcoin. I believed in it, right? But I lost out." And that's cool. Maybe, kinda, sometimes. I don't think about it still. That's insight. If I would have told people to buy Bitcoin when it was a few dollars, people would have been like, "You're just gonna lose out on money, right? You're just gonna, it's a scam, it's whatever." But after Bitcoin came around, people would have listened. And, if I would have caught Bitcoin at what? By the time I was like old enough to get it, I was just like, fuck all of this. I mean, beep, screw all of this. But insight is important, but having the confidence and availability to act on insight is also incredibly important. And so a lot of these things, it's like with insight, it's really difficult to find it, right? It's really difficult to present it or curate it in a digestible manner, and it's really difficult to time it, and it's really difficult to have people believe you, and it's really difficult to be prepared to act on insight. Everything about it is difficult, but it's really the only thing that's valuable, in my opinion, in this world. Because that's new ideas, right? That's progress. It's the only thing that creates progress. Insight, new ideas. It's like that movie, right? With Benedict Cumberbatch, The Imitation Game, right? He had the insight of creating a machine that could decipher Enigma. And then he had also the insight of that he combined the information, he combined his idea for his machine with the idea that Germans were very patriotic and said Heil mustache guy in the beginning or end of every single uh, message. And they were able to use that to break Enigma, which was a constantly changing code. Right? The key was constantly changing, and so it was very dynamic. But yeah, that's insight. And creating that computer, and finding that piece of information and combining it with that they have the same message, same two words in every single message. That's not just available on a website or on a newsletter, right? It's like, oh wow, of course, after the fact, after everything's done. Now that Bitcoin's big, it's like, of course, it's a decentralized currency, whatever. It's got all these uses. But before, its uses and its value wasn't just on a website, on the New York Times, on the Economist, on any news outlet. It wasn't there. Nobody was talking about it. So, talk about things people don't talk about, and you might find insight. And prepare for the most difficult thing in your life ever. And yeah, that's my thoughts on insight. And that's it for today. I went a little longer than I thought I would, because I am low energy today, and I am low brain power. But we made it through, live every day, regardless. Day 51, right? Day 51 ain't nothing but a thing. All right. So, hope that was useful. Give you something to think about, create some insight, and start acting on it. Make sure it's useful. Make it useful, right? That's the trick. Make it useful, and you're all good. All right. Well, that's been me. Be good, do good things, and subscribe, and good things happen. And I'll see you tomorrow, day 52. And if you remember, 9 days ago, we spoke about day 52, but unfortunately, we have not made the desired progress. So, just keep at it. Just keep at it, and something will occur. Preparedness and actively looking out for whatever may be useful, and creating, originating, because that's important. All right. And finding the gray line so that you don't cross it. See you tomorrow.